Well, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, due to the rising COVID-19 cases in the last week, where we had 3 of our colleagues testing positive for COVID-19, during our caucus, the senators decided to tighten our health and safety protocols. In addition to the existing protocols, we will be implementing the following additional guidelines for the information of our dear colleagues and for the general public. Effective Monday, August 15, for 3 weeks, we will have a lockdown for guests. We'll receive no guests for 3 weeks except for resource persons, which will be limited to 2 per agency or organization. The others could participate remotely. So, let me repeat, we will have a lockdown for the next 3 weeks. We will receive no guests for these 3 weeks, except for resource persons during committee hearings, and they'll be limited also to accompanying members of the resource persons. Kasi minsan nangyayari, yung resource person nagdadala ng 10 kasamahan. So kung pwede, we limit it to 2 accompanying members of this delegation or organization. Number 2, the resource person should present a negative RT-PCR test result with QR code taken within 24 hours of your meeting in the Senate, or a negative antigen test within 12 hours within the day from any DOH accredited facility. Self-administered antigen test results without any valid certification shall not be accepted. For the committee hearings, each senator may be assisted with 2 members of his or her staff, except for the chairperson of the committee, who will obviously need a bit more staff to assist. For session duties, we will retain the 2 staff per senator rule. We don't want to happen what had happened the previous Monday and the previous weeks, where the whole plenary was full of staff, Your Honors. And so we will appeal to our colleagues, and it was the agreement during the caucus that we will only have 2 staff per senator rule for the plenary. And for the elevators, we shall implement a strict 5-person limitation rule on the elevators, so that hindi po tayo magkaroon ng yung pagsisikip sa loob ng elevator. So those were the things that we discussed, Majority Floor Leader, and we beg the indulgence of the general public. It's just kung hindi po natamaan mga senador, ang masama dito ay sunod-sunod po ang pagtama sa ating mga kasamahan sa Senado, and we just want to be safe. We have members with comorbidities, we have staff with comorbidities, and according to the DOH and Octa research, according to them, the cases will peak in the next 2 weeks. So maybe we can give ourselves a bit of a safety net for the next 3 weeks, at least here in the Senate. The Majority Leader, I believe our distinguished colleague from Taguigin Pateros
Yes,
would like to recognize.
Mr. President, I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Cayetano, you recognize, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I think that was very clear. Dagdagan ko lang for further clarity, kasi dati pag binanggit yung lockdown, tayo yung walang session, di ba? Liwanagin natin, no, na we have agreed that we will be here, di ba?
Yes.
We will be here. Yung guest
Yes.
lang naman ang nilimit natin for the safety of everyone, para we can perform our job better. Yeah, for a few weeks, no? And then, Mr. President, upon clarification nga sa atin ng ating medical team nga, yung marami palang nakapaligid dyan, hindi pala yan yung media natin, ano, mukhang mga personal photographer staff din ng mga senador. So, no problem. As I said naman, we understand that we all have a job to do, pero yung request nga natin is mabawasan. So, like I also said in caucus, na obviously kung nagpe-privilege speech or merong mga debates na, then syempre these form part of the staff for documentation purpose. And I have no problem nandyan. Problema lang yung talagang napuno yan, ng mga 20 yata sila doon. That's the only time we would say na kailangan mag-ingat tayo. Yun lang, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Senator Pia Cayetano. And yes, for the record, papasok po tayong lahat. Yung exempted lang sa pagpasok natin dito sa plenaryo ay yung mga may COVID, yung may simptomas, and yung may close contact, that they will be allowed to avail of the hybrid system. Senator Tolentino, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. I was supposed to ask this during our first session day, but apparently I was not around. It has something to do with what you discussed probably during your caucus. So in effect, Mr. President, this is a parliamentary inquiry. The recent pronouncement of the Senate leadership is that for the next 3 weeks, we will be holding a hybrid session with those COVID-infected members of this chamber attending virtually. Am I correct, Mr. President?
That is correct. Your
So
Honor.
my inquiry, Mr. President, is this. Would that mean a revival of the previous Congress's resolution authorizing a hybrid session similar to what the lower house did when the lockdown was first enforced for 3 weeks?
Actually, it was not a resolution, Your Honor. It's already in the rules. We amended the rules of the
Yes.
Senate to allow the body will allow such hybrid sessions. In this case, it is the hybrid of the hybrid, because we're having hybrid sessions only for those members who have COVID-19 and those who have symptoms as well as exposure. Pero for the rest who have none, like ourselves, we must attend physically.
Yes, just for the record, Mr. President, the reason why I rose on a parliamentary inquiry is because, and I see the good minority leader probably would concur with this, is that the Constitution provides that there should only be one Senate sitting in one plenary. This was my speech before, because if we go in 24 different ways, we will have 24 Senates. So, Mr. President, my inquiry again is that we are not reinstating the old rule, but we are having a hybrid of the hybrid.
Yes, that is correct.
And the duration is just for 3 weeks.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, the minority leader is seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized. Senator Coco.
President.
Yes, our distinguished
So that
minority floor leader.
we will really be clear about this. The holding of a hybrid session is authorized by our rules. Is that correct, Mr. President? Will the
Under Section 40. Section
yes.
41 rather.
Yes. So
Yes.
so andyan pa yan.
Opo.
Okay. So and then by unanimous consent, we are agreeing that we will we will not avail of that rule.
That is correct. We suspended the rule. No, not suspended the rule.
Yes. Yes, Mr. President. So it is there. The rule is there. We are not availing of the rule, and yet since it became reality that some of the members got infected, and since we have already devised this system that we can still attend by online connection, we have allowed this for those who are positive,
That's correct.
those who are who have been exposed to a positive person,
That's correct.
and those who exhibit symptoms related to COVID-19. And this is not only for the 3 weeks.
No, not only for the 3 weeks.
Yes, so yun po yung,
That's correct.
so yun po yung klaro. It will always be there.
Yes, sir.
Once na pumasok po tayo sa ganun.
We just have a heightened quarantine response now with the moratorium on the guests for
Correct,
the 3
correct.
weeks.
Yes. So, ganun po yun. And then, in my opinion, we're having one Senate session.
Yes,
Yes, only one Senate session, and then
Yes, we have
they are
one
also
Senate
present online.
that's correct.
So, Mr. President, if I may be recognized again,
Yes, Senator Tolentino is
just
recognized.
to respond to the implied query of the good minority leader, my original parliamentary inquiry would refer to the previous Congress's resolution that we go on a hybrid in consultation with the House. So, Mr. President, was the recent decision pronounced by the Senate leadership today done in consultation with the House?
It's
no
not,
need.
it's not necessary, Your Honor. Yeah, because the House is independent from the Senate in terms of
No,
running its
Mr.
rules.
President, what I'm referring to is a constitutional provision requiring both houses to consult each other if they would go into a different session. If they will not hold their session in their current session halls, would the virtual session amount to a compliance or non-compliance with that constitutional provision?
With my discussions with the Secretariat, we are one Senate conducting one session with some members participating online. So we are conducting one session. We're compliant to the Constitution.
That's my inquiry, Mr. President.
Yes.
Always in consonant with that constitutional provision. I forgot the exact section and article.
I think the Constitution provides that if you are going to hold session not in your normal venue, or if you're going to extend a couple of days longer than the other
Yes.
house, you have to
coordinate with the
you have
House
to
of
coordinate.
Representatives.
So I don't think the said provision is applicable to our situation.
Yes.
And it's section. We just take a look at section 41, and then tignan natin yung effectivity naman nito. Sabi ng rules natin, effective until
Yes.
amended or repealed. Nakasulat po sa
Yes.
dulo at the end of the rules. Yun naman.
Yes.
So it's here. So klaro, the legal basis is section 41. It still is in force because sabi natin sa rules natin, once effective, always effective unless repealed and or amended.
Yes.
Subject again, Mr. President, to your 3-week duration.
No, actually, the Rule 41, Section 41 of our rules is already part and parcel of our rules.
So the 3-week period pronounced earlier,
The
is not
3-week period is
self-executory.
a special
There is no need-
period for the
Visitors lang yan.
visitors only.
visitors.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
The good minority leader became the majority leader in clarifying all of this.